Hello, everybody. Welcome back. As you've no doubt already seen, we were up at Warhammer World last weekend. We played an event, I think there was 35 players or something this time, and we had a pretty good time about it. So today what we're going to do is I've got Rob back on. I wanted to get his views as kind of an outsider to the way we do things here at Warhammer World and the kinds of lists that we run and the kinds of missions and events and tournaments that we're running. So we are going to be going over the tournament standings together. We're going to be going over the top 10 lists. We're going to be talking a little bit about the missions and a little bit about the event in general. So this is going to be our tournament report for Warhammer World June 2024. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Before we get into that, I did a whole bunch of community interviews. I interviewed Wargames on Toast. I interviewed Dimitrios, a whole bunch of the other guys up at Warhammer World about their lists, what they were bringing, how they were playing it. So I'm going to put that video up there. I think you guys should check it out. It's pretty interesting, and it'll help you get a little bit more insight into how we do things over in Nottingham. Rob, hello. Thank you very much for joining me again from across the pond
Thank you for having me.
on this, what is it? Your Independence Day special. Also the election
It's Freedom
special on
Day.
my side. Freedom Day, that's it.
It is Freedom Day. We wrote
Yeah.
our special letter to say thank you.
Right, so you know there was an event at Warhammer World. We've all
Oh.
been keeping track of that. So we did our 4 games. This was last weekend at the time of me recording this, but it'll go up whenever it goes out. And I thought I'd bring you on just to check out the lists, really as an outsider's perspective and someone who doesn't play Warhammer World, because you can't, because there's several thousand miles of ocean between the two of us. What you think about the field, what you think about the missions, just in general stuff like that, just from a US-centric perspective, from the meta that you got going on outside there, the kind of events that you're running versus the kind of events that we've got on.
No, it's pretty interesting, right? Seeing and comparing, we don't get as many events as you guys do, but obviously we try to make a count over here. We have a lot more local stuff, like local game store stuff that's reported,
Yep.
but we just have Adepticon and we have Nova coming up and that. With that being said, we used to look at Warhammer World as like this wacky Wild West meta where it was going to just be going like people bring in some crazy, silly stuff. And it seemed like just a delight just to show up, bring whatever you want, and you had a chance. And I used to think that was very charming. I used to think that was awesome. It gave a competitive sense to people who wanted to take it casually, but also gave a competitive sense to people who wanted to be there to win.
Sure.
It seemed like a really good time. But this one, you guys had some bangers in there. This one seemed to
Yeah,
be
we
the
did.
most tuned up. This had the most teeth. You had a couple monsters in there. Like it was a really good tournament to look and review and follow.
Yeah, we did. And the missions, you probably like on the planet, you probably have the most games out of anybody on these missions, right? I heard you've been banging out games, really grinding.
Yeah, I think since that came out, I'm about like probably 30 plus by myself on that, not including the ones that like I'll set up just to do measurements or see like first turn like insanity prep work. But I have a lot on Ferocious Gnarlwood too. We also did 2 months back to back in League for it for
Sure.
TTS League. Shout out TTS League, come join us,
Mhm.
have fun. And then all this brutal encounter, Mystic Glade, Tie the Blaze, raise to the ground, Lightning Raid. We've played them all, so I have some sort of a couple words to say about them.
Well, I mean, very, very quickly, well, what do you think of the pack as a whole? I'm not going into any real specifics, but we've had a few packs come out of Games Workshop now, right? We've got the match play pack that was in the rulebook. We've had the Rumble pack, which is very much designed to do a different thing. There were the missions from the last event that we went to, and then there's this one. So what do you think about the direction that Games Workshop is moving in with their missions?
I think it's awesome, and it's a pack that is very thinky, crunchy, and competitive. I do think this promotes a good balance. It does definitely signal and flag a couple different ways to build your warband in best to get there. I do love Brutal Encounter, Mystic Glades. I think those are two of the awesome missions. Tie the Blades and Razor Ground are completely fine. Tithe is a little annoying. I'm not completely a big fan with that, but overall the missions are headed in the right direction, especially in terms of like a face of competitive. I
Mhm.
think on the casual side, if I was to just show up and be like, hey, today I'll try some casual, it might be a little overwhelming because you have a secondary, you have a twist, and you have completely different ways of scoring.
Yes.
I do love the fact they dropped major minor and they went to 531. I think that is
Yeah.
the godsend of everything. Unless they start doing major minor in terms of how the title pack was doing it with a difference of victory points, the margin of victory
Sure.
points you won over your opponents, I think that'd be okay. But for the most part, 531 is how we run our stuff out here too. And I
Yep.
absolutely love it. It's simple, it's easy, it's direct. And I really do enjoy this pack as a whole, as a competitive player. I think it's got a lot of crunch to it.
Yeah, well, the reason we went back to 531 is simply because the tournament app doesn't support majors and minors.
For you guys.
Yeah. PCP doesn't support majors and minors, so they said, you know what? Instead of us having to go in there and change everything, and it's far easier just to go 531, and it works like that. The missions we've talked about, a lot of people have talked about them, so we're not going to hover over them too much. The long and the short of it is that you've got your primary, which is either going to be for objectives or for killing. Then you'll have a secondary, which will either be objectives or for killing, depending on what the primary is. Gives different kinds of warbands different opportunities to shine. And then you'll have a twist, which is usually a catch-up mechanic. So if you're losing, it will give you some little bonus to be able to try and get back into the game.
Right.
That's the whole point of that pack. And I think overall, it does it in a decent way. And I'm happy with the pack. Yeah, sure, there's always going to be missions that are better, some that are worse, but it happens.
Nah, yeah, overall it's good and it's fun. Raised to the Ground is just hidden vault without the nonsense in the middle. And also Spoils of War, but they made it better. Tithe of Blades is a very, they made Brutal Encounter, I think, I hear the most the dichotomy on, where it's like, I hate it, I don't like it. Or people are like, wow, it's really interesting. It is a very thoughtful kill mission. It's not just put our guys in the middle and roll dice. You have to think about quarters. You have to think about who you're stripping an action for. Do you fall behind? But I know you probably talked your ears off about this, but it's in the right direction. I like where this is going.
So that's the mission. Hang on to the standings. This is the participant list. You can see what there was. A lot of Stormcast Eternals this time around. Just as a point of to compare, this is what it was last time. I know last time there were more players that came. I think there were 10 more players or something, because it's just difficult. We're in the middle of the summer holidays. People go on holiday. People aren't necessarily going to go to Nottingham to do their events. But that's last time. This is this time. Last time, there were a lot of Gorger players, lots of Horns of Hashut, Vulcan Flameseekers, Cities of Sigmar. This time round, that's basically all normalized. So there's only one less Horns of Hashut player, but you don't see a lot of the other spikes that you saw previously. A much more flat field, I feel, apart from the big old spike in Stormcast Eternals, but that's just they're Stormcast. Stormcast are always going to be popular.
Right, they're the easiest to access, and you could probably find the best deals for third party.
Exactly, yeah. But overall, you don't see that there are a couple of warbands with 2 or more participants, but overall, it's not bad in terms of spread, I think.
It's diverse. I like it. It's diverse.
Yeah. And then if we go over here to look at the average tournament points, this is how all of those warbands fared in terms of the points that they got, the average points that they got during the event. You see Royal Beast players, there was only one Royal Beast player, so that's why it did real well. The guys at the top, we're looking at Beast players, Quest of Soulsworn, Slaves to Darkness, they did real good in terms of their average points. And it's not just because there was one Slaves to Darkness player, there were a couple of them, and it seemed to average out. Cruel Boys, Header Knights did well, Monster Killers did well. All those guys that we expect to do pretty good, I think they were up there. I've been talking about Iron Golems a lot and how I think they are one of the new secret really good warbands, and it's nice to see them do okay as well.
The big surprise, I think it's a skewed list, right? With the triple Star Master, it was super sweet. We were all rooting for Triple Frog.
Yeah, he didn't do that well.
Right, it's going to be tough when there's objectives and spreading out. But
it's a very imbalanced list. If it was just kill missions, I think it would have done okay, but
dude's a legend now for just painting up 3 Star Masters and slapping them on the table. It's awesome. Yeah. And I think his brother ran the Ale Gargant.
The Giant. I played it. We're going to take a look at that list in a minute, but I played against that myself.
Right.
It was a fun list to play against, actually. But this is the interesting thing. Okay. So this is tournament points, victory points, and kill points. Tournament points is how people did, so it's the same as we saw already. Victory points is how people scored throughout the event. So there's a maximum of 20 victory points on offer for each mission per player, and that's how many in total people managed to get. And kill points is just you killing things. If we look at the 2 spikes, we see Skaven and Gorger Morpack. I was the Skaven player, and my buddy Charles was the Gorger Morpack player there. So you'll see we actually got the most kill points, we killed the most stuff, and we got the most victory points in the event. And yet still that's not enough to get the most tournament points overall. So what that actually shows is that these kinds of, I want to say really killy warbands, because we were both on the smaller side. He was 6-man, I was 7-man, but a lot of damage potential packed in there. You can score a lot of points, but that's not necessarily what you need in order to win some of these missions.
Because of the catch-up mechanics, both people are going to get a crack at scoring points. So you look at the kill points, and the kill points are all pretty, other than the Skaven, which is you, the KMK, and the
Yep.
Gorger, right? And the surprisingly the Bone Reapers, right?
Yes.
Iron Golem's up there too, right? Like there's a lot of high kill points because there's a lot of times and pressure points to meet in this mission pack. So you're going to see that be a little bit higher. You scoring the most victory points with him is pretty interesting. So that means either your 2 games that you won or his 2 games or 3 games you won, you probably blew people out to get those points.
Even then, the games that I lost were still high victory point scoring games.
So you had a straight split across the board then. So there was like a big gap with win and lose. That's pretty interesting. I think I wanted to see how this mission pack played out with you guys, because I know in testing in League and testing against a lot of people, unless you're just dicing somebody, a lot of the games end up relatively close together, with the exception of Raise to the Ground seems to be the one that, and Tie the Blood or Blades?
Tie the Blades.
Whatever. Tie the Blades, right. Those 2 seem to produce very uneven results.
Sure.
But the others seem to be close. So the fact that everybody was producing these results that were erratic was pretty cool.
Guys, I have noticed that still 63% of you lot who are watching this are unsubscribed. So what are you waiting for? Join me here on the channel. It helps me out. I get to see numbers going up, which is something I really enjoy, and it does not cost you a thing. If you want to send some more support my way, you can join me here on YouTube as a member. You can join me on Patreon. You can join me on Streamlabs. Either way, you'll get to see behind the scenes content. You'll get to see new stuff before it's released. And now you'll get to see exclusive members only videos if I can record it when I can record it. So thank you very much. Let's get back into the video. This is top 10. This is how they did. So some of these guys I've interviewed already. I'm going to put a link to the video up there. You'll be able to see interviews with Adam, War Games on Toast. I've got interviews with Demetrios, Maps, if you know him from the Discord, Charles, all sorts of things are in there. I think that's really interesting. I think that's something you guys should check out. They talk about the list. They talk about how they did as kind of like a tournament summary. But this is a top 10. This is basically everyone who managed to score 16 points or more. Some interesting points there. If you look at Adam, War Games on Toast, second place, he was talking about how during his event, he had a very low scoring event. And if you take a look at it, maximum 20 points to get, he scored like 9, 5, 10, and 9. But he managed to do really well, I guess, just pipping out his opponent and getting those wins, which I found really interesting. So you don't necessarily need to score really highly to try and win one of these events.
Right. Yeah. I mean, does the 5 for the win, 3?
So you've got the score, and then you've got the victory points, which is how many points you score during the game to win those games.
Right. So when anybody, it's always somebody's first show. If somebody's hearing us saying 5, 3, 1, that's it. What it means is 5 for a win, 3 for a draw, 1 for a loss. So if you see these numbers here, that's what you're seeing what happened with that. And then the VPs are victory points, KP or kill points.
Yep.
You're going to see what's going on with that. So you look at that. Adam had it's just in the nature of Cruel Boys, in the nature of that list, of how that list plays, is going to particularly be okay at holding points and then like meeting middle engagements and getting free activations to try and get the tempo ahead of it. So when you go break down that list, I'll talk a little bit about it. And then again, you look at Andy Moore's list, Royal Beast Flayers, like look at the score, right? We have 8, we have 14, 9, 10, 20. Like a lot of these things were pretty around the mark. The 14 in game 2 is what put them up real high.
Yeah.
And that's because when you're playing 11 models, you're able to run around, take points. You're able to get a early lead on objectives and kind of keep it and hold it.
Yes.
We break down that list and then
there's some interesting stuff. This is 1 and 2. They went 4-0. Andy and Adam. Andy managed to crack Royal Beast Flayers. There was a lot of talk around them about how by themselves they were kind of a middling warband, but he managed to crack them. I know he has so many reps in.
So
with this list.
Andy reached out to my teammate Kyle, because Kyle plays them a lot. And Kyle and him kind of like, Kyle worked on the list and then Andy worked with him, and they just pretty much asked, he tried the Vargolf Courtier, he tried a couple different iterations of it. Kyle's like the 11 man's best version of this. And Andy put in reps from like early in the year. I'm talking like February onwards. Took his licks, took his losses, took his draws, took his ties, and then he started winning, then he started getting better, and he started moving and moving. And it matters when you put a lot of reps into something, you start learning it, you start learning all the nuances, because the list is sneaky. It looks, if somebody's looking at it and they're like, well, what's the big deal? You just run 7 ghouls, Flame Master, the 2 Barons, the
Yeah,
Wielder.
it looks squishy as all hell.
It's unbelievably squishy. But when you're running groups of 4 and you're just like,
Mhm.
hey, wait, Baron move everybody. So it's like they got a free move anyway.
Yes.
Everybody's already set up, and then he launches everybody 5 to 10 inches across the board. Wielder's going to fly around and resurrect, or it's going to assassinate a piece at the right time. Playmaster just hangs out in the back and just calls pack tactics. It's easy to like look at the list and be like, this is what it does. It seems pretty simple to play. Very difficult to play list, and it shows that all these reps he did finally paid off, and we're all super proud of him. Like, I'm super stoked for him. He took it as a personal challenge, and he, you know what, he mastered it. He did it. He got first, and that's awesome for him. I'm so proud of him for that.
There we go. There we go. And then Adam, War Games on Toast. So this list, I've got an interview with him. Like I said, so go check out that video. He talks about this list. He breaks it down, why he brought the things he brought, what did well, what didn't do well, that kind of thing. Apparently, Potgrot is MVP. It like killed a giant. It killed a brute boss. It killed all sorts of things.
Sometimes your little dude just, like, I'll throw dice. Who cares? And see what happens. You just throw 2 6s, and all of a sudden they're just popping 6 damage off a clip, and it just wins. Like, it's awesome. The fact that dude's just smacking with a ladle, just having it. Cool thing about this list too, when Adam first joined TTS League last year, October-ish time, he wanted to make a soup list. He originally had a Trogoth in there and just updated it to clawback. It looks with the 1 strength. He has 2 forms of projection, 1 in speed and 1 in range. He has 2 nets. He has good control. He has good reactions. It's just a solid list. If you walk into him, he's going to get some fighting off. If he's able to just shoot you down or charge you down, he's going to just stand on points. It's a smart list. Awesome list. I can't wait to see his interview, though. I'm really also, again, like, really stoked for him. He's another dude that's a great guy that deserves the podium. I'm really happy he found success. And then just like to pick it up, he hasn't played this list in forever. He was playing Vulcan Flameseekers for
it's like he said two tournaments ago, so it would be at least 6 months.
So he hasn't touched this in a while, and to come back and take it and go to second, get 4-0 with it, then just only lose on victory points is awesome.
Yeah, that's super good. Right, so yeah, that's him. Like I said, go check out the interview. That's super cool. And then this is everyone who got 16 or more points. Third place, Leon Smith, Vexmore Chimera. This was my loss from round 2.
Hold on, this is my face for all the Vexmores. Oh no, people are running Vexmore. That's a surprise. Yeah, dude, the Vexmore Chimera is just like an awesome middle finger to everybody. Just like, well, you hate one and you hate the other. I'm going to run both. Props to him for playing it, though, because it's a 6-man list. It's not like a 9-10-man list with the Chimera where he just outweights you and then she drills the Chimera in your throat. I have a lot of respect for that in the Demonettes. I think it's cool. It's nice that it didn't win, so it's just hey, this is still viable. It's powerful, but it's not the end-all be-all with some low model count. I like that. It's kind of neat. Still hate the Chimera, but like, props to him for taking it.
So I was chatting to Leon afterwards, and he basically said the whole reason the Chimera is there is because it gets around Vexmore's speed issue, because you can drag and maul a guy onto the other side of the Chimera, and then Vexmore can hit it. And that's the real reason why he was doing it. When I played against it, I killed the Chimera. My Vexmore managed to fail spectacularly and only did like 10 wounds for the Chimera. Then I had Skabic run into it and like attack 8 times and kill the thing. But by that time, we were playing on a kill mission, and it was kind of a bit too late. And also, with only 6 guys, there are only so many points that you can give away on a kill mission. Because if your guys are dead, you're not conceding any points if you can't catch them, which is something that I didn't think about originally, and I think that was pretty smart. So I like it. Despite getting rolled, I like it a lot. Awesome. And then, 4th place, 1-box Iron Golems, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's a 1-box. It's got the 3 legionnaires and then like Drill Master, Breacher, Armorer, Signifier, Dominator. Yeah, it's a 1-box.
So yeah, that's pretty neat, I think. And again, this goes back to what I was saying. Iron Golems, watch out for them, because I think they got the chance to do what they need to do. 5th place, Anthony. I've got his interview. That's pretty good. I love this list. I think it's super cool because I love Mind Stealers. I love the idea of the +1 toughness Nurglings because they're already super efficient, and giving them +1 toughness just keeps them around a little bit longer with all those wounds. And again, we're leveraging off of Plague Bearers just to show that Nurgle Demons is still workable, it's still playable.
Yeah, I was talking to him on another guy in TTS League, was talking to him online. He's a big fan of demons, and despite the changes, I think he was determined to show that they're still completely viable. We just kind of look at it from a different angle. We adjust. He has one slow, heavy hitting dude, and then he brings in the Mind Stealer Phalanx to give like a control. He's got some
Yeah,
Nurglings there. I like the list. I think it's super cool. I'm really stoked for him that he just got up there, just threw some dice, had fun, had a great time. Another great guy, another good guy in the league. Big fan of it. I think it's a cool list. And it's cool to
100%.
see Vexmore not just bring Vexmore and friends. It's cool to see that people are thinking like different avenues to use them. And I do agree, if you're going to use him, you need a speed piece to offset what he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. So yeah, in the first case, we got the Chimera. In the second place, we got the Mind Stealer Spherex. In my case, we're all movement 6 anyway, so we can kind of get there and do what we need to do. So I definitely agree on that. Sixth place, we had Demetrios Thylax. So this is the last hurrah of Ephelim. He feels like it's out of his system now. He doesn't need to do any more teleporting shenanigans. Some slight upgrades from the last time. Now he's got the Chaos Chosen in there because he had some points to upgrade. He said he was super happy with the Chosen, and I like the new Chosen. I think they're pretty good. And the Aspiring Champion got an update along with the Chosen. Was that Chosen Champion? Something like that.
Both Chosen got reworked. I've known him for playing this. This is pretty awesome. He was also contemplating what to do, and this is something he's had a lot of reps in from, again, TTS League, and he's also played with us online. It's a very thought-provoking list. He doesn't have anything that just automatically deletes something. He has to plan and play accordingly. There's a lot of tricks here. I think it's
real
awesome
big
list.
brain.
Also a big fan of just like jamming a Chosen in there. He said it did a lot of work and just giving a good consistent damage profile, sick model. And it just looks like a cool like Slaves to Darkness list to run. I do like the Span Maw. Spawn Maw.
Oh, Span. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's Span Maw now.
Span Maw.
Span Maw.
That's his name.
Friar Garlic is the other one you said, and I was a big fan of Friar Garlic. I still call him that now. It's a good list though. And he's an awesome player and an awesome lad. I can't wait to watch these interviews you have.
Yeah. So this did real well for him, but he said he's done now, so we will sadly not see him play any more FLM. Maybe I can convince him a bit later on, but who knows? Seventh place. You're probably in the best position to talk about this. You played a whole bunch of Beast Slayers, whatever they're called.
Cruel Boy Monster Killer.
That's the one. Slaying beasts, hunting monsters,
That's it. I'm going to call him KMK for short for anybody listening. So if you hear me saying KMK, it's just Cruel Boy Monster Killers.
Yeah.
Good job. Another one box here. And honestly, they're so good out of the one box. Like you have the two Gnarlwood Howlers are able just to run blindingly fast and tie you up. Beast Knobs hit like a truck. Neck Slices and Bone Hakas. And he has a neck slice with a Smasher, which is interesting. I think he just wanted one of each and said, let's have fun. Because otherwise I would have taken 2 Harpoons, because Harpoons with Rip It Out is just absolutely insane. I don't think he has a Egg Rot in here.
No Egg Rot in this one.
So he does drop the Egg Rot, and he probably dropped that to get the strength and the crit. Okay. Baller Boy with Stabba instead of the Flail's another interesting one. It's more consistent damage profile, but it's not bad. They all have not venom encrusted weapons. They have kind of like, if there's damage on them, they can spike their damage up to like +1/+1, I believe, if there's 5 or more damage on the model. They have like the reactions. It's just a fun warband to play. That's a big gamble risk. All these guys are T3 except for the Beast Knobs T4.
Yeah.
And they have ways to shut off reactions. They have ways to stop your speed if they roll well on the reaction. They have all these things, all these tricks. Rip It Out is like insane. So it's pretty cool. It's just a good warband to play if you want to grow with like a weird control style warband.
See, I think these guys, the Vulcan Flameseekers, so these guys and the Vulcan Flameseekers, so they kind of came out at the same time, right? They're 2 really good examples of just like super solid one-box warbands that you can pick up and you can just do well with, because the pieces, there are no like dud pieces in there, right? So we talk about what I do anyway, Hunters of Wanchi, and there are dud pieces in that warband, but in these 2 warbands, there aren't, and you can kind of bring them and it'll all do something, and as long as you know how to use the bits, they'll kind of do what they need to do.
100%. It's just, it's awesome. That whole November release of Vulcan Flameseekers, Hunted, and KMK are just top notch if you guys want to pick up a box and get into the game.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Next up, 8th place, Big Chad Energy, Chaos Lord, Cockadrak.
375 points to say, look at my model. And I love looking at this model. I love the fact this guy was like, Varengard, what? And just jams a Chaos Lord down in there.
Yep.
Oh, man, the energy.
And a Knight as well. You know what?
I'm all hot right now. Not at all. They're like where the game wants to be with this mid-range. Things are moving up to like 100, 115, right? It's 15 wounds or like 6 toughness. Look at the next slice with Harpoon is 115 for 15 wounds, 3 toughness, but it has range profile. We're getting into this like balancing and like kind of giving their own unique identity.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the list. Simple.
Six,
Send dude on big dinosaur,
Three, four,
white
five,
dinosaur
six.
lizard, whatever it is, and just it's 2-inch reach, 5/5, 3/5.
It's really
like
good.
Champion of Darkness. Yeah, you're the Varangard Storm of Blows, but like it's whatever. You got
No,
5
but you're
dex
getting arguably you're getting a lot for what you're paying for. It's just
you're
the
getting
reason
8
why
more wounds, right?
the reason why people don't bring it is because its base is massive and it's mounted so it has to physically walk places.
As a pig from Ironjaws, though. They're not they're not drastically larger. They're just 375. So people are like, let's stay away from it and only look at Varangard.
Maybe we'll see the Cruel Boys boss on Swamp Beast. Yeah, that's the one.
Killer boss on Greater Nashtooth has the same double that the Thunder Boys do, but it's just you roll 3 dice and it's like half value of the dice or whatever it is, and then like on 3, or you roll half value of the dice and on 3 ups it's like 3 damage each, but you have to be an inch away. But it's 330 points. 9th place, love it.
It's just a solid quest list, really.
Right, he skewed Grainhammers, which like I think Grainhammers or Relictors are the way to go, and it's just quests are Soulsworn again. As everything kind of gets evened out, we evened out the points on things. We kind of like tweaked a couple things. These are going to kind of start coming up, and I really do like what they're doing with them. I love playing Soulsworn. I think they're a ton of fun. They feel great. They're like one tweak away from being like an incredible, astonishing team. Seeing it place on 9th is another relief, and I'm happy about it.
Well, didn't they come like a couple of times ago? Demetrios piloted them to 1st or 2nd or something. I think
there was another person. Demetrios played Warrior Chamber, and then somebody else played them to 2nd place.
Yeah, so they can do it. There was
like another 100%. Time they did well. They can. They need the right matchups. They need the right map packs, and then I think they can have a good shot at it. If they have a good pilot behind it, all the better.
Yeah, and then last up, this is 16 points here for Nick. That's the Black Talons. That's what they are.
Love it. They can surprise people if you're not respecting the fact that they can just burst and throw unreal amounts of dice with good wounds. 5 models is rough. Like I would never play these on a Rumble pack because you would just lose. But like having the ability to control and figure out how to play the twists and secondaries, you can have a real good time with these guys if you're a smart pilot. And also it's just a named box. That's so cool. What's cooler than being the actual warband itself? I'm liking it. It's simple, it's straightforward. Hendrik and Rosses are going to give extra attack actions to Neve or extra move actions. Chicana's going to do Tearing Blade on a range shot. It's the ultimate swing. Join the club with Vexmore. Lorai is
she can just zip around, right? She's an elf.
People gave her garbage, but she was the first of the new casters to be 3/3/3/7. And that's wild, right? Because slans are 3/4, 3/4, 3/6, right?
3/6, yeah.
Right, but you're paying like almost 100 points more, exactly 100 points more than Lorai, I think. So Lorai being like, no, it's a little bit more than that, I believe. Lorai being quick, kind of fragile, and still getting the triple to say, hey, -1 in a bubble of attacks around me so your boys can stay alive. But more importantly, just being able to take points. I think she has fly as well. So she
she does. I understand the move on her, like why you would want to give her a plus 1 move.
Right. Yeah, make her crazy. And then also, top of that, Hendrik and Rosses can also just whip her to give her extra shots. You can just machine gun from Lorai. So it's cool. And I'm happy. Again, I'm stoked anytime people play stuff like this and make it. I think it's great. I think it shows that a pilot was smart, took advantage of their matchups in a tournament, and just knew what they were doing.
To go 3-1 in any event, you need to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing. And like, credit to Nick and Mark playing like Stormcast, and credit to Simon for the Carcadrag. Awesome. Straight up.
Well, something that's really encouraging for me about the mission pack is that it's not just all one kind of warband. You've got small warbands here, you've got bigger warbands going on, especially if you take 1st and 2nd place into account. You've got some much bigger warbands, you've got some really killy things, you've got like weird, tricky warbands in the case of Demetrios and Andy. So yeah, I think if we just take it from what is the objective of a mission pack, and is that give as many different kinds of warbands the opportunity to do well, I would say that this is a success because you've got just all sorts of things here. This is for anybody at home. I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is the final standings. If you were there, you get to see everything going on. You get to see the big old green blob next to my name, which is most kill points, but not that it did anything for me. And yeah, so for everyone who did come to this event, thank you very much for coming. It was super enjoyable. I love it every time we go to Warhammer World. There's another one in September, which I hope to go to. We'll bring something different this time. I think one thing that I've learned from my experience on this is that I can play the Skaven and that's fine. But I was asked actually in the second round, what would have happened if I brought the Nighthorn? And the Nighthorn is like the same size, but it plays wildly differently. I think almost I would have had, I don't want to say an easier time, it would have still been just as challenging a game, but I feel like I'm much more personally suited to playing these fast, weird, tricky warbands over just something more straightforward like the Skaven generally were. So that's interesting. That's me finding something about myself or what kind of a player that I am, or what kind of warbands I like to play. So I'll take that going forward. But yeah, for everyone else, well done to you guys. It was really cool, really good seeing all of you.
As we say on 3H1C, the best thing you can do is play your best Warcry. And if you find your niche just like Ithan did, playing fast, tricky warbands, playing straightforward dudes, play it and have fun.
So yeah, that's it. That's all we have time to speak for today. Thank you very much for joining me, Rob. I know it was a bit of a shorter one this time than our usual hour-long essays on how to play.
I loved it, dude. No, it's chill. I loved it. It was the best thing we can do. Best thing I can do. My freedom day is wake up and talk about lists with my boy off meta. That's the best thing that could happen here.
Thank you very much. So yeah, that's it from us for today. Rob, if you want to plug anything.
As always, check us out. 3H1C, 3 Heroes, 1 Chaff. I almost said 3 Heroes, 1 Cup. Check us out. If you guys want to learn how to play 1 boxes, you guys want to learn and see how we break down mission packs, just learn how to play your best. And also give us a check on the big Discray. Come try to have some games with us on PTS mod. We have Toast on there. A lot of these guys in the top 10. Hey, come have some fun. It's a real chill environment. Schedule some games. Have a great time. Hit me up. That's it, man. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, that's it. As always, I've been Itan. This has been Off Musings. We'll see you next time.
Take care.